Ide Okonkwo, also known as Oya, is a young girl from Cross River State, Nigeria. Her powers manifest when she is 14 years old. The first manifestation of her powers causes her village to burn down, and when she starts to freeze things as well, she is considered by the locals to be a witch. Ide uses her new abilities to drive away the paramilitary group that was attempting to kill her. Ide is shown to have deep religious reservations with respect to her status as a mutant. She viewed herself as a monster and as a witch child. Oya has the ability to alter temperatures around her. However, she cannot simply create heat and cold. She can only rechannel temperature. Through pyrokinesis, Oya is capable of generating flames from thin airs, not requiring the consumption of oxygen or combustible objects to maintain the flames. Through cryokinesis, Oya is able to reduce the kinetic energy of atoms and thus reduce temperature, often used to generate ice. To date, Oya's use of her powers has only been limited to the amount of heat available to her in a given area.
Oya has the power of temperature manipulation. This power allows her to manipulate the temperature and objects in the area around her. She is able to produce both fire and ice. But how is she able to do this? Let's talk about kinetic energy in relation to temperature. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion. If something is moving, it has kinetic energy. There are different types of kinetic energy, such as vibrational, rotational, and translational energy. Temperature, on the other hand, is a measurement of the average kinetic energy of the molecules in an object or a system. The molecules in a substance have a range of kinetic energy because they don't all necessarily have the same speed. This is why we use the average kinetic energy. As a substance absorbs heat, the particles move faster, so the average kinetic energy, and therefore the temperature, increases. Solids, liquids, and gases all have temperature. The particles within a solid aren't moving around, but they have vibrational motion. As the molecules of a solid vibrate faster, their temperature increases. So how does Oya freeze things and create ice? She does this through cryokinesis, which works to slow down atoms as they are moving, whether they are in a liquid, solid, or gas form. After the atoms have begun to slow down, they start to lose momentum, which means they lose a large amount of kinetic energy. This, added to the atoms and molecules moving at slow speeds, allows for it to essentially freeze after dramatically cooling.
Oya has the ability to generate large amounts of heat in order to counteract cold temperatures. In order to do this, she would need to have the ability to convert chemical energy into thermal energy. Chemical energy is a potential form of energy that is stored in chemical bonds that hold atoms together. If bonds are broken, the energy is released, and if bonds are formed, energy is absorbed. Thermal energy is often referred to as heat energy. As molecules move faster and gain kinetic energy, the temperature of the substance increases. During conversions from chemical energy to thermal energy, the energy stored in the chemical bonds are released, and this causes surrounding molecules to move faster, thus increasing the thermal energy of the substance. However, depending on the elements present in the atmosphere, heat will be released due to different bond enthalpies in different chemical reactions. The heat absorbed or released from a system under constant pressure is known as enthalpy, and the change in enthalpy that results from a chemical reaction is the enthalpy of reaction. Reactions where the products have lower potential energy than the reactants are exothermic. Reactions where the products have a higher potential energy than the reactants are endothermic. In an exothermic reaction, the released energy doesn't simply disappear. Instead, it is converted to kinetic energy, which produces heat. This is observed as an increase in temperature as the reaction progresses. In order to quantify the enthalpy of a reaction for a given reaction, one approach is to use the standard enthalpies of formation for all of the molecules involved. These values describe the change in enthalpy to form a compound from its constituent elements.
Oya's superpowers enable her to manipulate her body temperature from extremely cold temperatures to extremely hot temperatures. Oya's ability to regulate her temperature can be explained through the process of homeostasis. Homeostasis is the tendency to reach a stable equilibrium between two or more elements maintained by a physiological process. When looking at homeostasis, the brain plays a major role. The body temperature is regulated by the thermoregulatory center in the hypothalamus, which is located below the thalamus. The thermoregulatory center in the hypothalamus acts as a sensory center. The brain temperature, also known as the core temperature, is sensed and is then compared to the skin temperature, which is also known as the external temperature. The temperature is gathered by receptors in the skin, and neurons are able to gather the core temperature. Both sets of information are needed so that the body can make appropriate adjustments. The thermoregulatory center sends impulses to several different effectors to adjust the body temperature. Thus, when the body temperature increases, neurons in the anterior part of the hypothalamus turn on the mechanisms for heat generation, such as sweating and dilation of blood vessels in the skin. When body temperature decreases, neurons in the posterior part of the hypothalamus are responsible for the heat production through shivering, vasoconstriction in the skin, and blockage of perspiration.
Oya's ability to endure extreme temperature changes is due to a process called cellular homeostasis. Cellular homeostasis is the body's ability to balance several factors that work to help maintain the health of the cells. Thanks to cellular homeostasis, Oya's lipid bilayer of the cell membrane blocks the passage of ions in water, enabling her to have a higher sodium and potassium concentration. The benefits of a high sodium concentration is Oya is able to maintain a healthy pH level of around 7. In addition, Oya is a warm-blooded animal, or in other words, an endotherm. However, since Oya has supernatural abilities, she is both an endotherm and ectotherm. An endotherm is a creature that regulates its body temperature internally. The way that the body is able to internally regulate temperature is by burning calories. The normal body temperature is about 96.8 degrees, but in order to withstand extreme temperatures, Oya has the appetite of 3 fully grown men. The more calories, the better. The more food Oya consumes, the more calories, and the higher the temperature she can endure. She's amazing. On the other hand, we have Oya's ectothermic abilities, which means her temperature is harmonious to the temperatures of the environment around her. So when Oya travels across the 7 seas, destroying more villages, Oya is able to take on the freezing temperature of the outdoors. The perks of being able to have control over thermoregulation is that it makes it harder for your opponent to defeat you. So, throughout the drastic shifts in body temperature, Oya is able to maintain a normal body temperature, yet function supernaturally.